we're just going to give a few more people a few minutes to join us. Welcome to yet another Paving the Path to Wellness series here at Niagara, here at Heart Niagara, at Hardcore. We're happy to have you here once again. Today we'll be speaking about self-advocacy in healthcare and when you should speak up. I think this is a topic that everyone would need, because at one point or the other, we would need to visit our healthcare provider. So this would be a good one to help us ensure that we speak up when we need to, and if we need to advocate for ourselves or someone else, we'll be able to do that. So welcome for those of us joining us on Facebook. Let's just get straight into it. My name is Jay, and I'll be taking you through it. So today our conversation will be very simple. We're just going to go straight into it. First of all, we're going to introduce basically what self-advocacy in healthcare is and what self-advocacy is in general. We will then move on to kind of explain what self-advocacy could be or should be and the different components of it. Then we'll move on to just sharing a few key numbers and facts about self-advocacy that will kind of get us into a space or a headspace to see and to know why and how important it is for us to advocate for ourselves when it comes to healthcare. And then definitely before we leave, we would make sure that we would give you tips on how to be a better self-advocate moving forward. So let's go. So basically introducing self-advocacy, it involves understanding your needs, knowing the type of support you require, and ultimately effectively communicating these needs to your healthcare provider. So when you walk into a doctor's appointment, you should walk in with an agenda. You shouldn't just walk in saying, oh, you know what, I need to see my doctor today, not thinking it through. Just the same way you show up for a job interview, think about it like that. You want to go equipped, you want to go ready, you want to go knowing what you want to get out of it. So it would be good to be prepared. When you arrive, you should basically be armed with your health history and goals, like I said earlier. So even if you do have to write it down, or you have to just scribble it down somewhere rather than thinking about it on the spot off the top of your head, it's a good way to go to make sure that you do not forget anything. So ultimately, based on the introduction, what we are saying is you have to know yourself. You have to know what health concerns you have. You have to know everything about yourself that would help the doctor or healthcare provider help you achieve your goal for visiting or going for that session. So because no one else can really provide more valid information about you than you. You know more about you. You know exactly how you're feeling. You know exactly how you do not want to feel or how you want to feel at the end of the session or after you get treatment, as the case may be. So it's always best to know exactly, know yourself and in its entirety. Next, you have to know what you need. So if, for example, you go in to see a healthcare professional saying, this is my problem, you should also know this is what I need. Obviously, they're going to give you guidance, but you should know what you need. And then thirdly, you should know how to get it. So do some research about the process at the healthcare providers center or place, just to know how things work, just in case those things cannot work for you. You can spell them out to say, okay, this is what you guys do, but unfortunately, this cannot work for me. Is there something else we could do in my case? So know yourself, know your need, and then know how to get it. So let's go a little bit deeper into what self-advocacy is in healthcare. So first of all, you have to be confident about it. You have to speak up for yourself. You have to be assertive in explaining your needs to obtain exactly what you want. You cannot be timid. You have to show the healthcare provider that this is who I am. This is exactly how I feel, and this is what I believe I need. Because both of you and the healthcare provider are coming together to achieve your goal. So you're basically partners here. You also make sure that you're able to utilize the information and resources at your advantage. Just like I said earlier, make sure you research and know what is possible and what is not. Then this is really important. You have to know what your rights are, what your responsibilities are, and make sure you exercise them both. Moving on, we also have to make sure that you use support of other people to accomplish your goals. One way of having support of other people to accomplish these goals would be to go with a support system to a doctor's appointment. Have a conversation with them prior before you go. They could also serve as a way of reminding you of things you could possibly forget. Then one thing for sure is not to back down when you're faced with barriers, because obviously the health professionals or healthcare providers, they have experience for so they obviously want to give you what's best, but sometimes what's best for the general population might not be best for you based on your peculiar or your unique situation. So it's always good to stand your ground and not back down when you face barriers, especially when you know that what you're proposing would be more beneficial to you. Then moving on, also make sure you voice your concerns about treatment. You can ask about alternatives to a given procedure or surgery, or ask your doctor to summarize what they've told you and then next steps as well. So just make sure that you are completely aware and you understand what your doctor has proposed for you. For example, I'll give you a simple example where there was a situation, a study was done where there was a patient who was supposed to get an MRI, and she clearly said she did not want it, but did not communicate why. But the doctor was clearly saying an MRI will help us with our diagnosis. And eventually, because she went with a support system, her support system was able to say, oh, she could not have this MRI because she's allergic to the dye which is used for the process. So your doctor needs to know, you need to communicate just so it doesn't seem like you're just being difficult. Just go with all the facts and present them as much as you can. Then self-advocacy also means asking for help. It doesn't mean that you're a lone soldier. You can ask for help and end up getting what you want. So how does self-advocacy help you versus how does it help your healthcare provider? For your healthcare provider, it makes it easier for him or her to understand what you're experiencing, so that he can provide you with care that you feel confident and comfortable with. For you, it empowers you to be able to make decisions and control your life, and eliminates the possibility of having other people just pinpoint what is supposedly best for you. So often we think about how do we start these conversations, especially for people who are a little bit intimidated by healthcare providers. Yes, they have all these experience. They know exactly what they're doing more than 70 to 90% of the time, but you really don't know how to start these conversations. So a few ways you can start this conversation is with these 3 questions, which is, think about it. What is your health problem? Next will be, what do you need? So you could ask the author, what is my problem? Considering I've told you all these things I'm experiencing, what do you think the problem is? Next, you could say, then what do I need? If this is the problem, what do you think I need? Or what do I need to do? The third way to kind of start this conversation is, why do I need to do what you have just told me? So these 3 questions recommended by the Manitoba Institute of Patient Safety has prescribed these 3 general questions in its Safe to Ask program. It kind of gives you a place to start where to have conversations with your healthcare provider. There are other there are also other parameters which have been used as well, but this is just one of the examples. So moving on to key facts and numbers, the reason why I have put in this slide here is just to give you an idea or give you a reason why you should not back down when it comes to being a self-advocate for your health. In the first quarter of 2021, there was nearly 100,000 job vacancies in the healthcare and social sector, which was basically a 39% jump from 2020, according to Statistics Canada. So just imagine if there was such a gap in healthcare provision, it would definitely reflect or affect the quality of care because the workforce is depleted. So there will be procedural backlogs all the time at an all-time high. So patients will definitely risk experiencing a subpar health system. So you want to make sure that because of these pressures and these gaps in the healthcare system, you still get optimum care, and your health need is dealt with. Another key fact would be that just the way we have individual biases in the general population, we also unfortunately have them in healthcare for all the reasons possible. It could be anything. So it is one major contributor to the persistence of health disparities. Evidence suggests that healthcare professionals, like I said, just like members of the broader community, they hold implicit biases, and further, these biases are reflected in the quality of doctor-patient interactions. So you want to make sure that you keep that in mind. So when you are, which moving forward, I'll kind of explain or reiterate, when you're choosing a healthcare provider, or when you're going to see a healthcare provider, make sure that you're armed with everything that you will need. So moving forward, one thing we should remember is an educated patient is an empowered patient. And I do not mean education in terms of having our degree in medicine or pharmacy or anything health inclined. What I mean is just educating yourself on the basics of how the process goes and what you need regarding your health outcome. Secondly, your doctor, keeping in mind that your doctor is not a dictator, he's just your partner. So he's trying to help you. So if you do not give all the necessary information, he or she will not be able to help you. Then, like I mentioned earlier, use all the support system you can get. Going to the doctors can be daunting. So you want to make sure that if you need your mom or your sister or a friend to go with you, it would be a good way to go. Remember to stand grounded even if you have kickbacks. Get informed to help you make informed decisions, just like I said earlier. So how do we be better self-advocates for ourselves? Many of us, when we get to the doctor's appointment, we become tongue-tied. We're panicky, we're unsure. Put that all together with not feeling your optimum or 100%. It could be very difficult. So first thing you should do is find a healthcare provider that you can trust and you can relate to. And what do I mean by this? Is if you, for example, if you are you have a healthcare provider who you have things in common with, it makes you comfortable. Maybe you don't speak English and you find a healthcare provider who is Spanish and you're Spanish, and it's just easier for you to explain what you mean with certain phrases or certain words. Or you find a healthcare provider who is a mom just like you are, or a healthcare provider who loves to play squash just like you do. It kind of gives that relatability. So if you can find that, that would be great. You'll be able to relate to your healthcare provider. Second thing is you should get to your appointments early, because when you do get in late, it creates a ripple effect for everyone else that has appointments after you. It also doesn't give you a good look. It doesn't make you seem ready. It's just not a good look. It also kind of makes you flustered. You probably forget everything you wanted to say. It's just not a good base to start. So it will be good to get to your appointments early. Excuse me. Thirdly, you want to make sure you clearly communicate what you're experiencing. What your doctor does not know can actually harm your health. Just listen to that clearly. What your doctor does not know can actually harm your health. So you need to communicate what you're experiencing as much as you can. Include the level of specificity as much as you can. So what I mean when I say that is say exactly how it is, where it's okay. For example, if you're having increased leg pain at night, if you can say exactly the times when it happens, what makes it worse, what makes it better, if lying positions can help with the pain, to give as much detail as you can. If you've experienced that kind of pain before, just let it all out, because if you do say it as it is, the more information your doctor is armed with, the more he'll be able to help you. Next, fourth on the list is bring your list of questions. If you do have to write them down in as much detail as you can, so that you don't have to be thinking about it on the spot, because you're bound to forget. When you get pushbacks or if you have concerns, then you should bring it up. Do not think that the healthcare provider cannot read your mind, so you need to relay that information. And I'll give you a typical example. If your healthcare provider, for example, is prescribing a medication for you, and you really want to know what that medication will do. For example, if you're playing sports, or if you drive, or if you for anything else that you do normally in life or with your activities during your day, feel free to bring that up and communicate it to your healthcare provider. Next up would be take notes, because you may think that you would remember everything that was said. You can just take notes and always refer back to it. And the sixth on the list is to make sure that you confirm next steps. So after you communicate what your problem is or what your concerns are, and your healthcare provider gives you tells you, okay, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it. So you're gonna ask, so what next? What next are we going to do? What's my responsibility based on what you have said? Seventh on the list is be consistent, be persistent, because you would get what you want because you know what's best for you. And like I said earlier, bring someone to support you if you need to. And then last on the list, if after you have done everything that we have listed here and you still do not feel confident, you still do not feel that you are being listened to, and even though you've communicated what you want, you feel like you're not being heard, you can switch your healthcare providers. It's that simple. If you feel unsupported, if you've expressed yourself to the best of your ability, confidently and clearly, and you feel unheard, or you're living with more questions than answers, then we would suggest you could switch, because you need to be somewhere where you believe that you will be well taken care of. And just like I said earlier, what your doctor does not know can hurt you. So you make sure you always relay all the information. If you have past health concerns, surgeries, there's no point hiding anything. The doctors are not gonna, or healthcare providers are not there to judge you. They're there to help you. So you make sure that you lay everything out on the table. So that's it for today, really. Pretty straight to the point. I hope you guys would remember, if you need to take a picture of this slide, or you need to, even though this will be available on our website, but just have it handy. This will be a good one to have. Just make sure you remember these. Make sure you tell your doctor everything. Moving forward, make sure you follow us. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we're on YouTube. So find us, and on our website, if you have any questions, if you have any questions, please visit us at www.heartniagara.com, and we have so much for you. You can always reach out to us, and we'll have all your questions answered. And go forth and be great self-advocates for your health whenever you visit your healthcare provider. Remember to be confident, assertive, go prepared, always do your research, and you'll be good. Thank you for listening, and thank you for everyone who joined us online. We will have you guys join us again next week with the paving the way to the wellness series, but this time Claire would be with you for the next session. Thank you once again, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.